The 6 great Demon Lords of all their time in the spotlight as menaces in the Digimon card game. Lilithmon with its Lilith-style deck, all about looping options and gaining memory. Beelzemon got tons of support as it was a fan-favorite Digimon, culminating in ST14 and BT12, making it a very powerful self-milled deck that was all about living life on the edge. Lucemon was a powerful recovery tool, and it was one of the very first cards to have Tamer removal as an ability with Chaos Mode, along with being made into a very powerful decision-making deck. Will your opponent delete one of their bodies in order to prevent you from trashing their security and recovering yours? Barbamon Raidron was a powerhouse of a card, being able to go for multiple checks and deleting all Digimon that are level 5 or lower, and then it could shift into sleep mode to gain full immunity and trashing 2 cards in order to nullify any of your opponent's attacks. Leviathan shifted him at a hard with its ability to emerge from the depths of the trash and delete your opponent's bodies when they were played by an effect. Creepymon, while it didn't have its own identity or its own deck, was a key piece in the 7 great Demon Lord deck. Wait, 7? Ah man, I forgot about Barbamon. It's honestly the only Demon Lord that isn't that great. As of VX8 that is. Debuting in EX6 as the last great Demon Lord to get its own card, there was a lot of pressure to make Barbamon something special. And well, it was specially bad. It is the only great Demon Lord to not have any immediate impact on the meta, like at all. But why is that? In this brief dive, we're going to look into what makes a deck flop on impact and why it just isn't that good. And well, we might as well start off with the Demon Lord itself. Barbamon, the Demon Lord of Greed. EX6 Barbamon is a 12 play cost Digimon that digivolves from a purple level 5 for the cost of 4. It's got the keyword of Scapegoat, which lets you pop one of your own Digimon to keep it alive. It has an on play when digivolving effect, trash one card in your opponent's hand without looking. Oh my god, that's so good. It has an all turns once per turn effect of when your opponent's hand is trashed from. You may play one 10 cost or lower purple Digimon card from your trash without paying the cost. For each card in your opponent's hand, reduce the cost by 1, meaning if they have 4 cards in hand, you can play something with a play cost of 6. Quick math. Scapegoat made its debut in EX6 as a way for purple to dodge effect deletion by popping something else, which would normally suck except purple has so many cards with on deletions. So honestly that isn't the worst, but what really sets this old guy apart is the ability to remove one single card without looking. Okay, like I get it, the idea is if your opponent's being greedy and plays a card like say any of those on play pitch 1 to draw 2, then you're able to punish them by playing on a 10 cost body, but there's just a catch. It's only 10 cost minus whatever cards are in their hand. I don't know about you guys, but the average Digimon player's hand is between like 6 to 8 cards, and most often it's 8 cards. So let's just say they have 8 cards in hand, you can play out a 2 cost body. Look out everyone, Barbamon is playing out nothing because there's no 2 cost cards in the game. Okay, before someone types in the comments, yes, there are 2 targets, Demi-Devimon and Candlemon, but let's be real, 95% of you guys did not remember this card existed. And the EX6 support cards that were designed to support Barbamon, they all had these weird caveats where if their opponent had 5 or less cards that did something else, and if they had 7 or more, then they would trash a card. So if your opponent happened to be at 6 cards, I don't know, you're not doing anything to them. Like, I get it, it's supposed to be the Demon Lord of Greed, so if your opponent's being greedy, then you punish them. But like, most often than not, ripping one card out of their hand, that's not really gonna do a whole lot for you, especially because it's at random. And it's almost like you want your opponent to have more than 8 cards when you're going up the line, because then that's the only way your support cards are helping you. In today's current meta, this is only really good against like Heavy Metal Dramon. They have 1 card in hand, go into Barbamon, and then they have nothing. And oh my gosh, I can finally play out a 10 cost Digimon. So in the timeline where Heavy Metal Dramon is good, this is your counter pick. You're welcome. Okay, so the deck isn't good on its own, but hey, at least it works in a 7 great Demon Lords deck. Alright, so unfortunately, Barbamon has no synergy with the rest of the Demon Lord deck, as none of the Demon Lords cost less than 10. The only 10 cost or less Digimon you have in this deck is a yellow Lucemon, so it can't even really do it off of that. So that all turns effect is absolutely garbage. And honestly, no one's running this card for the single card removal that's completely at random when you can run the actual powerhouses in the deck. Legitimately, there is never going to be a reason for you to run Barbamon in a 7 great Demon Lords deck. But okay, I'm being very negative. There's still hope with the X antibody forms, as those always bring decks to new heights, and the Demon Lords antibodies are absolutely cracked. Oh man, come on. Like, even the X form sucks. Bandai, do you like actually hate this card? Before we go over the 2 cards of support that was in EX8, I need to explain something. Along with every Demon Lord's X antibody form, there is an option called the 7th something. These cards will activate if they're in your trash when you X evolve into the corresponding Demon Lord. Just to know how good these cards were, I'm going to talk about 2 of the Demon Lords that had some powerful effects. We've had Barbamon X, which by the way was a fantastic card that let you trash security for every 10 cards in your trash, and then by returning the 7th full cluster to your deck, you could pop something on board with the lowest level. Barbamon X Antibody had the ability to recover every single turn and pop their bodies and trash its security, and then their option, 7th Divine Cruise, if that was in trash, you could return it to the deck to do more recovering. So knowing just how good some of the X antibody forms can be, what does Barbamon X and its option do? Okay, what is this garbage? I don't even have to pick the card anymore, it's my opponent's choice? If my opponent is feeling so generous, then they can discard one of their cards and I can play a 7-cost Fallen Angel. Oh, how kind. And it's only once per turn, because we wouldn't want it to be too busted. If you're wondering what Fallen Angels can play with this, it's basically anything with Devi in its name. That can be Devimon, Lady Devimon, and most of them have on-play effects, especially the ones listed on screen here. At least they were nice enough to have the all turns effect just be if a card is trashed from your opponent's hand, they trash one of their security cards. This just kind of solidifies the fact that Barbamon is designed to be an anti-purple pick, or if there's any kind of cards that'll trash cards, then this is the card to run against them. But outside of that, you select the usual trappings of the deck, where you have to trash a card in your opponent's hand, and after you've Digivolved, you really have no way to do that. Like, this is a one attacking effect that you can't trigger. It's if your opponent's nice enough to. Like, what were they thinking? Okay, so again, try not to be negative here. Maybe the option card can somehow bring this all together. And it's still bad. Jewelerize isn't even a word. Okay, so positives. This one at least guarantees a trash from your opponent's hand if they have 5 cards or more, as opposed to all other supporters 7 cards or more for some reason. So that's a good step in the direction, but let's just say, hypothetically, in the best case scenario, your opponent has 5 cards in hand, and you activate 7th Jewelerize's effect to then trash a card in their hand, put in the 4 cards in hand. Then your pop effect, you're only able to pop a level 6, or again, they're going to have more than 3 cards in hand. So, okay, cool. I can just pop a level 6, which again, not to sneeze at, that's not too bad. I don't get why they needed to put a caveat on it. Like, the deck needs all the help it can get, Bandai, and you decided to go, no. If we don't do this, it's too busted. This was the Charlotte with the Camel's back. Ideally, if you combo off of this card correctly, you go into your Barbamon X, and then you return 7th Jewelerize, you trash a card in their hand, which lets you trash one of their security. Okay, so that's not the worst thing. It's just not the best that a Demon Lord can do, you know? If this is the only deck that interacts with your opponent's hand, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. This isn't too bad, except we've had one, it's the Tax Wolf, and it's been around for like 8 more sets. Since BT11, Mirage Gargomon has just been making you pay the tax whenever you have cards in your hand. And then Mirage Gargomon Burst Mode just sets your hand back to 8 every single time, like just rips all of them out. Yes, I get it, granted a level 7, but like, why is the Tax Wolf able to do your job better than you? That's a deck that plays greedy, and the Demon Lord of Greed can't even out-greed them? Well, like, come on, Barbamon, you're supposed to be better than this. Like, I get it, this card is very fair, but you're a demon, you're not supposed to be fair. Barbamon is less of a demon, more of just a doddering old man. Under different circumstances, this could have been better, but considering how many searches there are and ways to add cards to your hand, moving one isn't enough. Unless they do a complete overhaul, this deck is just going to be the worst Demon Lord deck as of January 2025. I'm only being so mean to Barbamon because it could have been so good. Just think about it. What if 7th Jewelerize had an effect similar to Mind Crush from Yu-Gi-Oh!, where if you can guess the right card in your opponent's hand, they discard all copies of it? That would have been pretty cool. And I think fairly balanced because it's not like you do it every single time, it would just be on the one Digivolving, just return it, and then that's really about it. So at most, you could do it 4 times, you tossed 4 cards into trash. And what if instead of having Barbamon just have the effect of trashing 1 card and that's kind of just really all it does, it's whenever one of your own Digimon are deleted, you can then trash a card in your opponent's hand. That way it kind of ties in with the scapegoat, so you scapegoat, delete one of your bodies, and then you trash a card in your opponent's hand. See, to me, that makes more sense. And you know what? Barbamon X can stay being kind of mid because those 2 cards I think by themselves make things just a bit better and more fun to play with. But no, we get the midness that is Barbamon. If you've made it this far, I do have some actual positives for this deck. If you're trying to build it with the original support, all that Fallen Angel stuff, it's garbage. Just throw it out the window. That's terrible. What you actually want to do is run the purple Syakomon and Gesomon cards that were originally meant for Leviamon. Turns out those cards are just way better with the game plan of, trashing cards from your opponent's hand. Because guess what? There's no hand size restriction stuff. There's no 7 more or 5 or less garbage. It's just all that. And you can also run that new Deep Savers Marine Devimon, which when that stack dies will let you play out your lower end. So there's some good synergy there with the on plays. Again, it's just more consistent trashing. Okay, don't worry about the one attacking. Trust me, bro, it's worth it. You can still run some Fallen Angel level 5s here, but I just think that the Syakomon and the other Crustacean cards are just better, as it gives your opponents that choice. Do they want to let you have your effect go off, or are they going to trash a card in hand? And again, there's no 7 more or 7 less stuff to worry about. And because I'm feeling extra nice, here's a deck list that Talenzukuya has been testing out and has actually found some decent results with it. It's not going to win like nationals, but it will be annoying at your locals. I will say I take no pleasure in bullying the elderly. It's just I wish this was better. I have no other ways to say it. When your SR Barbamon X comes out at 75 cents, that's not a good sign. And no, this isn't some hidden value pick. The card is just not that good. The deck is just not that good. And if someone wants to prove me wrong, please go for it. If I see this as a top 16 regional win, I will be like, damn, good job, Barbamon, you finally did it. But I will say, if they ever decide to fully remove the restriction and just let you strip a card from your opponent's hand with no requirements, like everything else, this could be a very strong deck. But I don't think Bandai's ever going to do that. I just hope both Belphemon and Creepymon X aren't disappointments like this guy. Thank you for watching me rant about an old man. I really do wish the Barbamon was better, but it's at this phase, it's just not going to be it. Again, please, someone prove me wrong, or Bandai, if by some miracle you're watching this, give it good support. If there are any true Barbamon enjoyers, please let me know in the comments if this deck actually is good and I'm just like blind to it, and this really is the true tier 0 that we just can't all see. But anyways, I've been Pro Ninja, and I'll see you guys next time.